So I thought I'd make a small and simple guide to Wesker techs, as I got a few comments asking me to. I'm not going to go fully in depth with everything around Wesker, as I know other Wesker creator and insane gamer Scooty Booty is working on a full scale guide at the moment. That said, I think covering his techs and their use cases in a simple, easy to understand video would help more people learn the best design killer in Dead by Daylight. So let's get to it. Wesker's a lot of techs that are all actually useful in real game situations, and I will split them up into two different categories, those being easy, simple and consistent, and difficult and niche use case. I'll cover the easy, simple and consistent ones first. Starting with Urobend, or just bending, this was the first quote tech found for Wesker, and all it requires is turning your camera mid-dash before you grab a survivor. That is it. The most obvious use case for Urobends are to make it easier to throw survivors into edge map, making for very quick 2-taps and simple downs. There are still multiple other situations where bends are vital to mastering Wesker, and I'll show some examples on screen now. Next up are rebounds, which are probably the ones you've seen the most. Now, there are technically two different kinds of rebounds, the slides and the bounces. They are both entirely dependent on the tile you are performing them at and the collision surrounding you. The names are kind of self-explanatory, so I'll give a quick rundown on how you perform them overall. Okay, so here we are on Grim Pantry to give a demonstration of a rebound. Usually, pretty bad map just for killer in general, but for Wesker it has some cool stuff. So, for example, this building, all of this edge, all of this fence wall part is super good for rebounds. So, for example, if someone is camping this pallet, or they're standing over here, and they're waiting for you to make a play, you can You can dash into this wall and slide along it. So that's a slide kind of rebound. You literally just slide along the wall. So for example, if someone's about there, you can just appear right here. It's very useful. It makes short tiles easier to play, and I mean, as I said, it works the entire way along. So for example, if I come over here, someone's over there, they vault, you can just dash in here, and then look how much deeper you get in, as opposed to if you were to just sort of dash straight forward, you kind of just stop and then you go down. If you do it at an angle as well, it helps. But if you're somewhat far, you can bounce and then get that extra bit of distance. And it's as I said, it works everywhere on these edges. It's why this map's actually surprisingly good for it. It's very easy to pull off. It's just kind of looking at it, and then spinning your camera, and when doing it you can press S and A, obviously depending on the direction you're rebounding. So if I'm doing it from the right to the left, I just sort of look at it, dash, hold down my S and D key, and now I'm right here instead. Obviously, if you're quick enough, if you spin enough, you can do W over here as well. And then obviously if you're doing the reverse, opposite keys, and there you go, it's done for you. So yeah, that's rebounds for you. So that's basically it for all of the simple techs. So next up are the more difficult and niche situation techs. Kill techs, or Space Wesker, is actually pretty simple to pull off, but they're quite dependent on the object you're trying to fly from, whether that be a main building or literally just a hill. With that said, each hill has their own angles and lineups for getting good distance, and I'm having to re-record this part of the video because as I was editing it, Alranican just came through with a new series on map guides for Sky Wesker, which you should absolutely go watch. It's a great video. Even I learned some new stuff, so the link to that is in the description. The V1 gets its name from the Blight tech, which was discovered by a player called Virtual Reality. As with hill techs, they aren't, that difficult to pull off, but they are rare to pull off in a useful manner. Similarly to the Blight tech, you dash into a nearby object and then immediately dash again. It's useful to catch survivors off guard, as you kind of just appear. They don't have much time at all to react to an immediate second dash, which, unless you're running certain add-ons with Wesker, is significantly further than the first one. And finally, the one you've all been waiting for, hug techs. Wesker hug techs are really damn difficult, but if you can pull them off even somewhat consistently, they are very strong and criminally fun. I'm not going to fully explain how they work, as fellow Wesker enjoyer and gamer Alranican has already made a tutorial on how to pull them off, but in a nutshell, they are frame-perfect dashes along a wall to slide across it. Compared to a Blight Hug tech, Weskers are significantly harder due to being naturally frame-perfect, but I also find them a lot more interesting in their use cases. Whilst instant flicks aren't necessarily a tech at all, I personally believe they are the pinnacle of skill whilst playing Wesker. They are, very self-explanatory. It's simply flicking your second dash in a very short time frame, which just requires very good position and the ability to read survivor movement consistently. And that's everything. As I said at the beginning, this is meant to be a short and simple explanation of Wesker techs, so if you'd want more in-depth and specific Wesker gaming and techs, I'd like to give a shout out to both Scooty Booty for discovering, I've lost count of how many Wesker techs and just being nuts at the character, and Alranican for creating the Wesker Hug tech himself, and being huge inspirations to why I main Wesker and make content again, as I'm sure you've all noticed. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all again very soon.